since we were here, and a lot's happened during this past year. As most of you know, we've relocated our business, the administration side of the business, back to the UK. We moved back in May, and that's gone very well, we found. We're living, we've got an office in Cheltenham, Gloucestershire, which is a spa town, also the home to Prince Charles and the Duchess of Cornwall, but we don't get to see them too often, but we are on the lookout for them. We've got a brand new website that we just launched this month, and we've launched our social media platforms, which we hadn't actually done before, but that's just started, so we've been becoming very active with Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all of the other platforms, so we're hoping to see some response from doing that. There's also been a lot of changes politically, as you know, with Brexit. You know, we're just waiting to see the outcome of what's going to happen with that for us. But the good news is that my grandmother was Irish. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and I've applied for my Irish passport, so I will still be a member of the EU, which I'm very pleased to say. That's a good thing. And you've also had a new president this year, so it's been big changes for us all. And before I begin my presentation today, I just wanted to say that last year when we were here, it was really beneficial for us, for all of the feedback we got with regards to the covers, the pricing, and if you've got anything good, bad or ugly to say to us, we really want you to just share that with us, because we're still going through a learning curve. It's only been a year, we've still got a lot to learn, and you guys have got a lot more experience, and we'd really value any input you've got for us. So please don't be afraid to just say, that's terrible, what are you doing that book for? Just we appreciate all your feedback, so thank you. Okay, so our first book up today is Answers to Prayer. Oh, you've all got a pack on your table, by the way, all in the brightly coloured folder. You can find it amongst all the other papers. So you've got a set of our tip sheets in there. Okay, so the first one, as you can see up there, is Answers to Prayer, with a very handsome George Muller on the cover. A great book, and I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Answers to Prayer. It was formerly in our Pure Gold Classic section, but we felt it was getting a little bit lost in there, so we pulled it out to be a standalone book. George Muller was born in 1805 in Prussia, and he was an evangelist and missionary, most famous for the orphanages that he opened in Bristol, which is actually only an hour from where we're living. 10,024 orphans went through his orphanages. He also set up 117 schools where 120,000 children were schooled. And his book is a public testimony of the power of prayer and the strong personal relationship with God. He never asked for, I'm probably preaching to the gospel here, but you know, George Muller never asked for money, and that was part of his. I'm getting flustered. Sorry, I'm really nervous.
I'll just take a deep breath.
Okay.
Most of us are friendly.
I know.
Canadians are not so sure.
Last year I was incredibly nervous, and I didn't think I'd be so bad this year, but I'm finding that I am, so sorry, bear with me. So he didn't ask for money or donations, and he lived by faith alone. So this is just a powerful testimony of his story, really. And one of the favourite stories is that all of the orphans were sat around, they had morning prayer, and they didn't have any food, they had nothing in the house at all, but they sat down and they gave thanks for breakfast. They had nothing. All of a sudden there was a knock at the door, and the milk cart came by, and he was unable to continue with his journey. He said, "Can I give you all of this milk?" So they had milk for breakfast, followed by another knock on the door immediately afterwards, and the baker came with bread for all of the orphans. And it's stories like this that are in the book. It's just the power of prayer.
Great.
So it will give the reader a desire to pray and ask God to use their lives for His glory. So that's our first book.
What's the difference between yours and Moody's edition?
That's a good question. I don't know. But I will look it up and find a good answer to that one.
Yeah, we need to do that.
We do, definitely.
Well, or take it off your competitive titles on the tip sheet, Whitaker guys, our anchor guys, whoever does the final here.
Okay.
Because that tells everybody there's another one out there, and if theirs is cheaper, then a bookstore is going to say, well, I'll take the cheaper one.
Right.
Because they're not smart and they don't need a lot of profit, so.
So how much is yours, Bob?
I have no idea. Well, it's the nudie one that is the exact same title.
Okay.
Is the Whitaker title the same book?
It could very well be, I don't know.
Oh.
But that's why we titled it different.
You titled it different, yeah.
Makes ours look unique.
Okay. That's a good
And I
point.
don't, we could probably look, but
No, that's fine. Okay, we'll find a...
Yeah, I'll look at
Okay, brilliant.
I wonder if sell-through would be a little bit better at $14.99.
$14.99.
You have another title, same page count at $14.99. One of your other tip sheets.
Okay.
I was just wondering what the team thought if sell-through might be a little bit better at $14.99.
you'd have to see where the Moody one is priced
It's
at.
public domain.
Yeah, I was trying to go online, but we're not, no internet.
We might have one in here.
That would be a good thing to have on the tip sheet, actually, wouldn't it? The comparable prices.
We don't have our
Yeah.
prices on here.
Okay, so we'll look that up then. But yeah, maybe that's we should do that. We'll look at the pricing on it.
I like the cover, though. I like
Love the
package.
cover.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Real
it's,
clean.
I think
it's
it's on
punchy,
trend.
contemporary.
978080245.
Yeah, he's such a striking chap, isn't he? As
Yeah.
well.
Mm-hmm.
It's the beard, isn't it?
Mohawk.
It's the mouth.
Moody's is $8.99.
Ooh.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
But for Whitaker House?
No, from Moody.
But Whitaker doesn't have that title.
Oh, right.
We might have modified it. I don't know why that. Let's get out. Go ahead.
Okay. So, are we happy to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My next book is Banana Man by Ray Comfort.
Only you would come on with it.
yeah, only Ray Comfort, right? So Ray Comfort is our #1 best-selling author, currently with Scientific Facts of the Bible. Almost 500,000 have sold of that to date.
Wow.
He needs a little introduction to you all, I'm sure, Ray Comfort. He's known as Banana Man through the atheist communities, and he explains how this all came about in his latest book, Banana Man. In 2001, Ray was invited by Ron Barriers, the national spokesperson for the American Atheist Association, to join him in a debate with 250 atheists in Orlando. Actually, I was there at that debate, which was really interesting. And he gave the very famous analogy of the banana versus the Coke can. Have you heard of that? And it's been ridiculed through atheist communities, and it's viral on the websites, on social media. So Ray and Kirk Cameron are sat on two chairs, and they're talking about Coca-Cola, and how millions of years ago Coke just formed on top of a rock, and as the years went by, the tin can came down and formed around the Coke can. Paint fell from the sky and wrote the words on the Coke can, had the perfect little tab at the top to open the Coke can. He said, and that's how it happened. He said, but I would be insulting all of your intelligence if I expected you to believe that. Obviously there was an inventor, there was a creator, it was designed, and the same with the banana, Ray Comfort says. He then has a banana, and he said it's perfectly shaped for your hand, it has the pull tab, it tells you when it's ready, it's not green, it's not ready, yellow, it's ripe, black, it's bad, you can't eat it. So he said there was an inventor and a creator, and that was God Almighty. So the atheist community pulled it apart and ripped it to shreds, and actually Ray did actually say that he was wrong about the banana. But it's earned him the name. Wrong about the banana, I'll just clarify that, because the banana, you explained this before.
Well, I think what he was trying to demonstrate was that the banana is intelligently designed by some omniscient creator, I guess. But what happened is he subsequently retracted that because the atheists were able to prove that the banana as we know today was actually designed by man. It's been developed from the original banana, which is more shaped like an elongated lemon, really. It's very bitter, it's inedible. So he had to retract his statement because it was clear that it's been created by man, not by...
But he accepted that, but it's still got him the name of Banana Man. But this has opened up so many doors for Ray to now evangelise worldwide and for so many people to hear the gospel and to be saved. So he's really, he's using it to his benefit. You can't read it at the top of there, can you? The quote on the top of that. And I haven't got my...
Stop. Put this book down and back away slowly. My book is better. Read that instead. David Silverman, President, American Atheists Incorporated.
Yes, so that's how he's promoting his book, and Ray Comfort fans, as you know, will be very excited to read that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's reverse psychology, I think. So that's what that book is. Have you any questions on that one? What do you think of the cover? That says a lot.
So the screen up there was yellow on the sheet.
Yeah, it's yellow. That colours are not actually coming up very well on
It's
that.
the color of the walls.
Yeah.
Do people know his face? I mean, is that going to be the...
Oh yeah, he's
So-
all over YouTube. All over YouTube.
Okay, so that is a good,
Yeah.
something we need on the cover.
This is a cover that we haven't done ourselves. This is one that Ray has actually had designed. There is a banana on the back of the cover actually as well, an image of a banana. Pricing wise, $14.99.
Any thing with Kirk Cameron?
No, not on this one.
Anything about him identifying with Kurt?
In the book.
But on the jacket?
Or get an endorsement by Kurt to put on the back of the book.
Yes, that's a good idea.
I'll make some notes.
All right, yeah, endorsement by Kurt Cameron. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah.
I think it looks like a classic Ray Comfort title, which is good
Good. Okay.
from my perspective.
Yeah. Good. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, the next one, you've got a copy on your table of Dumpsters and Diamonds by Jackie Holland. Now this one is actually already in print due to the author really pushing me on this. I did explain about we want to only release titles, present them 6 months before. But as she's a stage 4 cancer survivor, she's in her 3rd year, she was really keen to get this out and actually promote it herself. So she actually has got 500 copies that she's out there promoting at the moment. Jackie, where are my notes? Sorry. She's the founder of Whosoever Will Outreach Ministry, which is actually a ministry that works with the adult entertainment ministry, mainly with women, hurting women in the prostitution industry. I don't know if you remember, back in 2002, she had Exposed Heart with us, which is her life story where she was married 4 times. She shot her husband, her son committed suicide. She's got a very tragic story, but it's also a very motivational and inspirational story, and is actually going to really help a lot of hurting people, particularly women, I would say, this one. It's very refreshingly written and honest. She does have some plans to I haven't put a note on here about the TV station that she's going to be on with it.
She's appeared on TVN.
Oh no, James Robins, that's right. She's been back in touch with James Robins and he's interested to interview her on his show, Life Today.
The cover looks very 80s.
Oh, does it?
It
Okay,
does.
Okay. That's a good, 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is done, right? This,
Yeah, this
yeah,
done,
it's
yeah.
done.
Yeah.
I'm sure her story is incredible.
Yeah.
Have you've met her and spoken with her
Yes.
about it?
Yeah. I met her back in 2002. So yeah, she's an amazing woman.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Incredible woman.
If she ever lets you know the dates of her TV appearances, I know our sales team always likes to know that because they can do promotion around those dates of her
Okay,
appearances.
that's a good tip. I'll get that. Yeah. She's got a lot of contacts in the industry, so she's working hard at actually self-promoting. So I will get dates and pass those on.
Do you know who her ordination is with? Says she's an ordained minister.
Yeah. No, I don't. Sorry. But I can find it. That would be good to have on there, would it?
Well, it will help us if we can tie it into any specific denominational
Okay.
emphasis.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Okay, our next one is Let There Be Joy, which is another one by Carol McLeod. If you remember, we had Joy for All Seasons last September with Carol, which has done very well, and we did have the numbers, and I don't know where we have. Oh, we've sold 1,727 of those since September, which is quite good for us. It's a beautiful book, as you can see from the cover. We had some ladies here voting on the cover for us, and we decided on this gold foil one, which we're quite pleased with that one. Hopefully you will be too. It's 25 days, and you join Carol on her journey of finding out the true meaning of the season. It uses Christmas scriptures to challenge and encourage and motivate the reader to embrace the true meaning. Carol's actively speaking at women's conferences, and also she's at Oral Roberts University this summer. I've got her list of her schedule, so she's very, very active. And I had an email from her last night. She was very excited. She's just had confirmation that she's going to be on Daystar Network on Monday the 26th of June on the Marcus and Joni show. And she's also going to be on Table Talk with Joni as well. So that's got big for this title she's going to be promoting. She's
What were those dates again, please?
26th of June. She's going to be talking about Joy for All Seasons on that show.
I wonder if this could be a little hardcover. What do you guys think?
You'd sell it as a hardcover.
A little gift, like that.
$12.99
Yeah.
hardcover,
$12.99.
case, in a printed case.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do a dust jacket.
Kind of like that Love is Better Than Wine, that little book you all did.
Okay. We've also taken on, as Jim and Myra know, we've also taken on Sean Myers again, who was you probably remember Sean, guys, don't you? He was our sales and marketing manager before we came back over to join Bridge full time. And Sean is solely doing sales and marketing for us. We have tasked her now with the next 6 weeks to just promote Carol McLeod. So she's contacting the top 100 women's ministries. She's sending review copies out to media outlets. So she's just focusing, and we're just going to see how this goes, because we're thinking author promotion is so important. If we could just target one author at a time for a 6-week or 8-week period, just to see how that goes, and actually set up interviews for her. And so that's something new that we've just started.
Do you have any interior spreads of the book, or could send them along?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
I've got those, yeah.
Is the trim really 4x7?
It's not. It's nothing at the moment, because it's just in the very. We're just editing the manuscript now, so. we
I
can
just
change
drew
it.
4x7. That's like oversized checkbook. Just a little bigger than checkbook size.
Okay, so
5x7 would probably make it look more book-like and not be. Although, either way, I mean, if you go to hardcover at 5x7 or 4x7, I don't think you'll sell any less than you will in paperback.
Right.
And you'd make more money.
Yeah.
Not that that's important.
Okay. How does it work there with hardback with Canada? Because I think Warren said to us last time it'd be better with paperback.
No, but a gift book at Christmas time.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Is it 4-color or
And it's
2-color inside?
It's just grayscale inside.
You feel that way?
I would think two-tone for sure.
2-color would
Yeah.
really make a big
Two-color.
difference.
Yeah,
Okay.
for Christmas especially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. We'll look at that.
It's cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think she's going to do well for us actually, Carol, because she's very motivated and she's just prepared to get out there and work really hard at selling it. But her schedule this year is.
I wrote down. I know we've talked before with her and Huntley and that kind of thing, but this book is definitely premium opportunity for them. So that's why I want the interiors, and I'll work with you to get a little more information. If we can try and pitch it for them for a Christmas premium, then we'd probably come back and do a paper print run if they ever went for it. But it's definitely, you're in the right direction here with us as an opportunity.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so we'll start working on that.
Brilliant, thank you. That's good.
Want some more good news?
Yes.
The Moody title by Mary, out of print.
Great. Super's too busy.
You put them out of business just like that.
There is another one, though, on Amazon from a Trinity Press. I don't even know who they are. But it looks really old. It's a cheaper paperback, but it looks it.
Okay.
So I think you're safe.
Great. Super. Okay, this is another title that we're excited about, which is More Prayers That Change Things, which is Lloyd Hildebrand's sequel. Lloyd Hildebrand, as you know, is the former CEO of Bridge. He sold over 150,000 copies of Prayers That Change Things, and it's continuing to sell. It's one of our choice books. They seem to continue to order that, so that's really brilliant. And this book just basically takes you deeper into your relationship with God through praying His Word. It develops promises based on topics such as getting back to basics, intimacy with God, jealousy, success, and focusing. The other book really just scratched the surface, and I'll say this one takes you deeper. I have contacted Ken Gonya directly with this one, which is just to basically get him involved and get him to know about the book now, and asked him for his comments on the book cover. And I told him a little bit about the book and said I thought it would be a good one for them. He was really responsive and receptive and came back with lots of ideas for the cover, so we've changed the cover according to his suggestions, and we've sent him 3 covers. We are going to be changing the font on this. That's the only thing that we haven't done yet. It was one of the things that he'd suggested. So I'm going to get, like we did for the last Lloyd book at ICRS, I'll get 50 printed for ICRS, so when it's presented to choice they can go away with this book and we can follow up with them.
Yeah, it's sort of a work in progress. We're trying to get away from, we're trying to
Like
bring
the other
in
covers at the
more
bottom.
contemporary feel to the cover. You can see the others on the tip sheet. They're rather dated images. So.
Are those fabrics, or I'm not following what those are?
Yeah, it's like pieces of silk, I think, different silks.
I mean, one of the comment that we received was perhaps it would be a good idea to go from dark to light, dark on the left, so lighter colours, lighter shades on the right. I don't know what people feel about that, or whether it's just better to be random.
I get this was the one that Ken had gone with from the ideas though, so I would suggest as he's probably going to be our biggest customer with this one, that maybe we'd stick with this one, would you say?
I like the cover. I have a question for the group on the title.
Okay.
There are a lot of books on prayer. I'm sure there's a lot of books called More Prayers That Change Things or Prayers That Change Things we've already seen. What if we added one word? Now.
Now.
More prayers that change things now.
I like that.
I mean, does that sense of expediency make this book stand out amongst all the other ones? Because people that are looking for books on prayer usually have an issue that they're praying about or a problem, challenge that they're going through. I don't know. Just an idea. And it fits on the cover because there's space. underneath the orange
Straight to
square.
That's good. That's cool. That does look cool.
And my only comment is I think you could take half of those color swatches away and bring the title up and still have the same impression. I get what you're trying to do, but I always hate when your eye doesn't know what to look at.
Right. Yeah.
And so I like to have the title pop more.
Okay.
So I think you could do that with 6 swatches as opposed to unless.
Or just reduce the size of the swatch a little bit and
Yeah.
bring up the size of the title a little bit.
Sound like you were gonna do that anyway,
Yeah.
right?
We were going to work with the
font.
font, but yeah,
The
we can
font
definitely
issue, yeah.
make them smaller. That's a good idea.
I got a question. If this is the middle one that sold 150,000 units,
Yeah.
that's pretty good. I wonder if somehow you make this recognizable, that not that it's a line extension, but if you kind of draft off that some to kind of make it look somewhere just lighted up,
Right.
because 150,000 is pretty good.
It is. Yeah.
So if
Well-
people recognize that, hey, this is the more prayers,
Yeah.
not the follow-up book, but you know what I mean. I don't know,
Yeah.
just something
I'd give him that title underneath his name. Author of the best-selling Prayers That Change Things, over 150,000
Yeah, I
sold.
don't disagree with that.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Is it the word now or today?
Now. Because my problem is right now. I just left the doctor's office. I need to pray now. Maybe. I mean, I could be wrong. Nobody else saying it.
Prayers that change
so-
things, maybe?
No, what we understand is, there's an urgency which you're trying
Yeah.
to bring out. So
My only concern with that is you're basically saying my prayers will change things now,
I was thinking kind of along this.
right? I'm going to pray now and it's going to change it now, when maybe it won't.
Really?
It might be next month.
Debate.
Where's your faith?
That's what you're hoping for.
Wait, prayers will change things
The
eventually.
whole library.
Just thought.
Next week doesn't work well.
Well, you'll pray about it and come up with the
I'm going to pray now. Okay, the next book is My African Dream. This is another new author for Bridge this year. It's a husband and wife, actually, Mark and Patty Rosa. They were on the missionary field in Zimbabwe for 30 years. And it's their life story, well, their testimony of their time on the missionary field. It's the only book, the only missionary biography that's out there that is written but from a husband and wife perspective, and they do chapter by chapter. It's beautifully written and captivating, and the story will challenge your view of the world and your place within it. Over 2 million Christians went on short-term mission trips last year alone, and this story is a vital read for anybody wanting to go onto the mission field. It's very thought-provoking. There's rich descriptions of daily life, and it's not only really for people that want to go on the missionary field, it's also people that are interested in reading about exotic places and what's actually going on in the mission field, and for people that are supporting missionaries. It is a beautiful book. They are talking to Mission Rise in Los Angeles about a movie at the moment. They're negotiating with them for making a movie about the book. They're talking at 40 churches and conferences this year. He's been on TBN quite a few times, Mark Rosa, and he's pretty confident that he'll be returning with this book as well, but I'll certainly get the dates of that for you when that's set up for him. It's an unusual book for us, actually, because we haven't done anything like this before.
It is the hardest category in retail.
Is it really?
Yes.
Maybe that's why
I
we've
mean,
never-
biography doesn't sell well, but biography by missionary is like at the bottom of the ladder.
Okay, so hard to sell.
It begs for an endorsement from somebody notable, and that endorsement, in my opinion, ought to be, it's captivating. You're there with them. Something that speaks to the energy of the story.
Right.
And as far as comping it, This was not a missionary book, but it has the same feel, and it hit the New York Times bestseller list. It's the book called Walk to Beautiful by Jimmy Wayne, who walked across America to bring awareness for homelessness. But still, it's adventuring out into the wilderness, so to speak, and the amazing things that the Lord did in his life. I'd comp that, because even though this is missionaries,
Yeah.
they're going to remember that because it hit New York Times and stuck for quite a while.
Okay.
In the States, anyway.
Did you get that?
Excuse me, what was the name of that again?
Walk to Beautiful.
To beautiful.
Just an idea too on if they do a movie to consider Bridgetown as a possibility to distribute that, which fits into the mix here. Very
Ah,
nice.
okay.
So, we're always interested in good story.
Okay, guys, shall we move on? Yeah. Okay, the next one is our second new author, actually, Pierre Ede. And I won't read that, not in the notes. He self-published a book in 2014 called Born to Grow. It's on the bottom of your tip sheet there. He sold 1,000 copies of that to date, and it's continuing to sell. And that's just on his, promoting that within his church. And he's a pastor of outreach and men's ministries at Washington Crossing UMC in Pennsylvania. He's a graduate from Liberty Theological Seminary. He's got a regular blog and he's very active on social media. He was brought up by a Lebanese. This is basically his. Let me start again. He was brought up by a Lebanese father and raised a Maronite Catholic, which is very similar to Roman Catholicism, but with special nuances, like burning of incense and praying certain prayers in Arabic. He is a born-again Christian now, and this book gives us an understanding of the love of God the Father and how our relationship with him is not about his authority and his power and his rule book, but rather the understanding of friendship, relationship, and the intimacy he offers to us as his children. It ends each chapter with a prayer, meditations, and group discussions. So it would be great for Bible studies, men's groups, and perfect for Father's Day. He was a former guest on the Balancing Act TV show, and he's been invited back with this latest book. He's also very humorous, so when he's writing, it's a lot of humour in it.
Charismatic
Yes.
perspective?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been one of the challenges, actually, trying to understand how to pitch humour in some of these texts, and how far really it should be committed to go without meaning, really. So we've worked hard on editing that, trying to get the balance right.
It says that he's the pastor of outreach and men's ministries at Washington Crossing United Methodist Church. Is he charismatic?
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, is that embedded in the text? Because I'm just thinking who I can present this to in some.
Yeah.
I mean, that certainly wouldn't give me any indication that he's charismatic, but.
No, but in the text, I would say that he is does come across with as being charismatic with speaking in tongues.
Okay,
And,
all right.
yeah,
That's
so it definitely is
helpful.
charismatic.
Okay, fair enough.
The title couldn't be much better because that's one of the hottest worship songs right now. Good, Good Father by Chris Tomlin.
Yeah, he did actually tell me about that, so that was one of the reasons he wanted. It was just called The Good Father, but we changed it to Our Good Father. So.
Yeah, yes, that's great.
Could anybody endorse him? For some.
Yeah, I could ask him. Yes. Yeah, we could find somebody to endorse it. That'd be a good idea.
Just being new to the industry, it's
Yeah.
nice to know
Yeah.
who might affiliate with him.
That's Chris Tomlin.
That wouldn't hurt either.
All you can do is say no.
If he knows him.
So, just sorry, jumping again, do you think there'd be value then in emphasising this charismatic issue on the cover somehow? Or you feel that maybe that's not coming across on
I don't think it's necessarily a plus versus a negative, but for Myron's sake, he can't sell this into the Southern Baptist bookstore chain, Lifeway, and have them discover it's charismatic, because then that's a black eye. You know, and they won't take it if it is charismatic.
Okay.
So basically, he can't present this book to over 100 stores,
Right.
you know, because of that content.
Okay.
And we would not typically, at least I agree with Myron, I would not typically associate a United Methodist pastor as being charismatic.
Yeah.
So United Methodist that passes at Lifeway, but charismatic obviously doesn't.
Okay.
So, but it is what it is. So,
Okay, we might have to have a look at that again.
well, I wouldn't change it if that's his story.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's who he is.
More just helps us know how to present it and to who.
the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up is Prayers of the Presidents. This was a title that we released in 2002, I believe, with Dr. Larry Kiefer, one of our authors that's been with us for a long time. It sold 5,000 copies. Oh, it was 2003 actually. It's re-released 2008. It sold 5,000 copies, but it's now updated with President Obama and President Donald Trump. And it's an in-depth study of the prayers of the nation's presidents. Contains prayers and beliefs of each president from George Washington to Donald Trump. It also includes facts about the time each president was in office. So, for example, which president was murdered, who was a prisoner of war, who married his school teacher, and which president was almost in the Confederate Congress. So it's got interesting facts in there as well. Some prayers are a simple call on God, but others call on the name of Jesus and his saving grace. So that it gives you an insight into the beliefs of the presidents as well. The prayers of Reagan and Washington give you an insight into the thoughts and beliefs of them very clearly in their prayers. This book has been offered as a premium for it hasn't been offered yet, sorry, it's going to be offered as a premium for one of the American Legion campaigns and also the 700 Club. David Hale is working with, do you know David Hale? Does anybody know David Hale? No, he's working with Larry on the promotion of this and getting it into as a premium for some of the 700 Club, etc. Have you any thoughts on this one?
Larry's pretty connected. I wonder if he could get like Samuel Rodriguez or Paula White, some of the ones that prayed at the inauguration, maybe as some endorsements or some names or something.
Okay, did you get those names?
Yep. And Graham Lotz.
Graham Lotz.
Yeah, she's head of the National Day of Prayer. She took it over from Shirley Dobson. That would be huge. I would go to, I'd go to Tea Party groups. This should be hardcover. You have tremendous potential with this.
It was hardcover actually in 2003, so you think it's hardcover again?
Well, or both. I mean, maybe do a really nice hardcover gift edition once this one takes traction.
Yeah.
I mean, with photos of, gosh,
It
what a
has
great
the
idea.
images of every president on each chapter heading. There's the image of each president on there.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. When you get to that point, I mean, there is a raft of Bible promises as well for praying for the nation, praying for our leader, that could be included in, as a back section to engage the particular reader for praying for our president.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could have a lot of fun with this book. Yeah, I think that's pretty neat.
Back in 2003, this actually was my dad's favourite book. He was really passionate about this one, so I'm really happy to be doing
I
this
agree
one
on the
again.
hardcover.
Hardcover.
Very much so.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to add expense, you could even like make the, what do you call the edges?
Deckled edge?
It's something that.
Oh yeah, you could
the-
run this up to $20,
Okay.
but then run a big promotion on it to back it down to $14.99. So with
Right.
extra discount
Okay.
to get it promotable, but this could sell in the clubs here, Costco, Sam's,
Oh, actually, I'm glad you said that. This is another one that I presented to choice for the cover.
I was
Yeah, and
thinking that too.
yeah, and this was the cover he
course,
chose. We had 4 different covers.
They don't like to be political though. That's the problem. So
Right.
it's still worth a shot.
Okay. But that was the cover that Ken preferred. So he's
Okay, good.
He's had a
Well, you
bit
already
of
got him in the conversation.
Yeah.
Both comparable and competitive titles are Amazon products, which usually doesn't help.
Okay. When you're looking for the comparable titles, where do you go to get those comparable titles?
Well, Amazon is the research engine for most of the industry because everything is listed there.
Yeah, which is where.
But did you search under prayer? Did you search under books about presidents? I mean, there's lots of different ways to skin it to be able to find.
Right.
And sometimes it means combing the shelves of a B&N,
Right.
just a local store somewhere.
Yeah, so I'll have to come over to America to do that because, as you know, in England it's
Yeah.
very few and far between to find Christian books on the shelves.
Somebody like
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it was
David
I
Barton?
think so.
David Barton.
comparables to something like this, I would say.
Okay, now I did Prayers for Presidents, and I came up with books that are not Kindle books.
Okay.
The President's Devotional, Daily Readings That Inspired Obama. I'm not so sure I would put that because in CBA but there's a whole bunch here. Nah, take that back.
Good.
There are several. A whole bunch would be going too far.
I think Faith Words had prayers
It did.
of the presidents or whatever that had. I think it was hardcover too. That might be a comp one.
Okay.
Could
Well,
look
and
into.
Countryman had one too, a little tiny devotional that had prayers in it. And it was called The Patriot's Guide to Praying for the President or something like that.
Right.
They took it off their Patriot's Bible. So it's out there, but
So that's really helpful for when you're selling it. Then is it the comparable title? So you say to the customer,
especially
the
if
buyer wants to know, what do I compare this to?
okay,
Trying to determine how strong it could be
right.
is part of the issue.
So it's huge. It's
Yeah,
very
it
important.
can be. I mean, especially if they don't have anything like it,
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to figure out what it is and what the potential is. Certainly one thing.
On your influencers list to send it to Dave Meyer, he's real big on the patriotic,
Okay.
Joyce's husband,
yeah, he speaks
Okay.
before.
Mr. Joyce Meyer.
Yeah, Mr.
Choice minor.
That's
Fair
true. He
play,
is
I
huge
guess.
in that.
Okay. Great. And Larry's also very willing to come to ICRS actually as well and promote. So we could have him on the stand.
Scott Pruitt, the head of the EPA, he's from Oklahoma. He's a very devoted Christian. Send him one.
Great. We'll be able to check that name.
Scott Pruitt.
Sorry.
Scott Pruitt.
Pruitt.
How
Yeah.
current are the current prayers?
They're current to Donald Trump.
Okay, but I mean, he's only been there less than 2 months. How do we know that these are actually his prayers?
We hacked his phone.
They're short prayers because they're all tweets. God, please take out the New York Times.
Prayer in 140 characters. There's a book in there somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there is. That's a good idea.
Yeah, Donald Trump's tweets. That's a good question. How
really
we know
wanna say
that
something.
they, whether they are his prayers. But I would have to rely on Larry.
Right. I agree. So Larry knows somebody that knows the prayers of the more current president.
Yeah.
That somebody's important for an endorsement or just some background information to help them sell it. Because if I was buying this book right now and they'll be out selling in another week or two,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask, how many presidents has Trump done, or prayers has Trump done? He's only been there 2 months. I'm
Right.
sure he's praying nonstop.
I think he's
'cause
praying a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's had some incredible quotes that come out as tweets that are very spiritually deep. I don't know if he wrote them or they're written for him, but it would just be interesting to know. I think it would make a difference.
Yeah, that's a good. Well, I'll speak to Larry about that.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you. Okay,
Cool,
finally.
good for you.
Thank you. Finally, Pentecost to the Present, Book 2. So you've all got Book 1 there. Is anybody familiar with the book? Anybody actually looked at it? Or? I think Ed presented this
He did last time.
in August. Yeah.
Good series.
Yeah. So it's the second in the trilogy, and it's looking at reformations and awakenings. His books are incredibly well researched and documented, showing spiritual gifts, supernatural signs, and practical love that resulted in a massive growth in the early church. Looks from Constantine to the Middle Ages, and much of Northern Europe was converted through miracle-working missionary monks, leading to the outcome of revival. And this book documents the power of the Holy Spirit. The author has been incredibly active, targeting schools and colleges with the trilogy. And the Bethel Church and School of Supernatural Ministry in Redding, California is interested in taking it. He's a graduate from Rhema Bible Training School in Tulsa, and they're also reviewing it, and it's looking quite hopeful that they're going to take it too. This is book 2 that's actually due out on April the 1st, and then book 3 will be out in June. There's also a full page ad going into Charisma in May.
That's great.
So there was some debate whether he's really coming from a charismatic perspective or whether it was
Word
more
of
of a
faith.
historic perspective.
Okay.
And so I presented this to some that would be a little adverse to an overtly charismatic perspective.
Charismatic or word of faith?
Okay.
Which one?
Hmm?
Which one? More charismatic or word of faith? Or traditional Pentecostal? I mean, there's three.
I guess
camps.
my point is that I like the fact that it was presented more as a historical documentation of the events of the Spirit throughout history, and I think there's a place for that regardless of what tradition you come from. I think that's fascinating. I don't think I'd be the only one either. Maybe that's coming from a little different perspective.
Is that how it reads?
That's what I guess what I'm really asking
Yeah,
is that safe to present it that way, or do you feel like
I haven't read it all. I've only read bits of it. Ed has read the whole
Okay.
trilogy. And from my understanding, I will verify this with Ed, I would say it's from a charismatic perspective.
Well, I think it's both.
Well, it's both. It's historical.
Obviously,
but
it's historical.
Right.
But if you read his bio there on the tip sheet, you can see that he's trying to bring that evidence to bear in today and for the future and for future generations. So
yeah.
I think it's both. So I think you could probably pitch it both ways depending on.
Just
who
being
the-
honest that it's coming from that perspective, that it's
Who the
really a
audience is.
historical reference.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'll find out.
I think this has some pastoral potential too, if we want to advertise that.
It's quite a rich text, I think.
Yeah,
and,
I really do think,
I think
if
if we need,
pastors of all denominations would read that, I think
if
we'd
we
be
need
curious
more,
by that.
if you need more thorough,
It looks like it
if
should
you
be.
need more thorough
Yeah.
presentation on it, we really need to call Ed because he's the one that did the entire editing with Jeff.
Well, for sure, we'll get the CVDs and all that to really
Yeah.
take it serious.
It's very approachable when you look at it, though. Like it's not.
I think so too.
It's not long
Mhm.
content on the subjects. It's a really nice, simple overview.
I really think this could do really well on CBD, so I'm there next month, so I'm gonna really push that again. So.
Okay, great. Well, I think you should have book 2 will be in because it's been printed now.
Yeah, if I can get copies to take, that'd be
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Okay, and we were actually going to get Sean after she's done Carol McLeod to actually look at this one next. But I'm actually wondering whether we should get her to work on Larry on Prayers of the Presidents after the Joyful. Let There Be Joy might be.
Give me an email,
Yeah,
yours or Mike's.
I've got some cards. So
Right now?
Yeah.
This is S. Wooldridge, SWOOLD RIDGE, S. Wooldridge at bridgelogos.com.
Christy was right. and this is big competition for your prayer book, but it's a couple years old. In October of 2015, Faith Words, through their Center Street, released Our Presidents and Their Prayers, Proclamations of Faith by American Leaders. The author is Senator Rand Paul. So that would have gotten big media because he's a sitting senator.
Right.
It is a bigger book. It is a more expensive book. No, it's not a bigger book. I take it back. It's 160 pages. But they did hardcover at $10.99.
Okay.
You remember that?
Must have printed a large amount.
I think I still have a sample.
It's got
from
four
that.
color.
Was it 4 color? Yeah, I thought it
Right.
was.
I think it was 4
It was only
color.
$10.
Wow.
Well, it's listed as $10.99 hardcover prime, and Kindle's $13.99. So unless they're running a special on it,
It would
but
have been a special. They don't do anything that cheap.
I wouldn't think so.
No.
Especially on Center Street.
Especially under Center Street. Any rate, that being said, it is.
That was 26.
Oh, was it?
If you go up to the right there.
Oh, yes, you're absolutely right. It's $25, so it's just on special.
Okay. Okay.
So that does give you room. I like your cover better than theirs,
Right.
so I wouldn't give up. I still think it's a great idea.
No. Okay, great. Okay, that completes our presentation for our full titles. Thank you, everybody.
Great job.
Nobody else got applauded this week.
And we also have the English accent.
Great. So what do you guys all do now?
More meetings?
More meetings?
Oh, yeah.
Got more presentations?
Yes.
Good for Diane.
Yeah, I remember that.
Got an extra one.
Original. Because it's made out of mixed So I think really think the first one, from what I can tell, I don't know how you're gonna know where I sit.
Yes. So I believe we're going to be in conference room A.
That way?
Yeah, that way.
C.
Oh, C. I'm sorry. Yes, C is way out there. Yeah.
Okay. That's at 10.
Yes.
I watched that. Tradition would be interesting to see a defense for flags and how the
48 hours, 52.
I emailed you the link to that book.